Can you hear me all right without any, there's no background noise?
Yeah, I got that background noise. This is definitely there.
Okay, because I'm on my earpiece. So what I'll do is whenever I want to say something, I'll just speak.
Okay.
I'll just stay on mute.
All right. So greetings, everybody. I had to come back. Wow, this has been very special to me tonight. I have special guests on the phone, on live tonight with me. I have, as a matter of fact, I have two brothers on tonight with me. One is Brother Morpheus from Atlanta, and then I have the one and only Christopher Jackson out of Texas. You know, I just want to say big shout out to both of these beloved brothers and how much I appreciate both of you. So tonight we're on live and we're talking about grasping the true essence of esoteric Freemasonry. That is the conversation for tonight. If you want to join us tonight, you're certainly welcome to do so. As a matter of fact, what I would do tonight, I will put in the chat. If you want to come on with us tonight, I'm going to put the meeting ID in here for you tonight. If you want to come on, be a part of this great conversation, give me just a second as I do this. I'm going to put the meeting ID in tonight, and you're certainly welcome to come on. So here's the meeting ID. Is going to be 9263246252. Okay, and you're going to need the passcode to that. The passcode to that is going to be 440287. So if you want to join us live, I certainly appreciate it. Just so you know, brothers, I was on here just a little while ago, man. Just really going hard at the NAACP, man. Cause man, that anyway. Let me go on and get with tonight's show. I got Brother Christopher Jackson on, so I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself. Some of you may or may not know who this brother is, but go ahead, Brother Jackson. Come on, tell me about it.
Greetings to everyone. I'm at my cigar lounge with my ankles crossed. That's what I do at night, is get my smoke on. And a little bit somber. I just found my aunt unresponsive on the floor at her home in Chicago, and I just found this out. I just found this out about 30 minutes ago. So I'm but you know, brother asked me to come up with a topic and deal with some things, and as always, I just try to be an asset. But I'm Christopher Jackson. I was built at Most Worshipful St. James Grand Lodge, 8220 Southwestern in Chicago, Illinois. I was housed at St. John Grand Lodge on the 74th and Ingleside in Chicago, and now I'm a member of Worshipful Master and Abraham Grand Lodge in Houston, Texas, affectionately known as the Empire.
I heard that.
But you know what we're doing. Let me get this background together because I really don't need it. I just put it up there just to have something up there. I guess y'all can see me now.
There you go.
Esoteric Masonry. You know, I don't know who's on the call. I don't know what anyone's looking for from me. Everyone that gets on the call, Masonry is different to all of them. But one of the core problems that happens with a lot of us is that we really don't know what we're in. We don't know the seriousness of what we're in. We've taken this all the way down to the minimization of making this a social club, something to just be in. You want to be on the team, but you don't want to play in the game. And so there are no tears in here. There's things that you've done in your initiations that you wouldn't do at gunpoint. But you have a lot of uh, you know, the first error that many have is that, you know, they all just call themselves, well, you know, I'm a master mason, I'm a master mason, and you only have 3 degrees. Actually, you're not. Just like, you know, people feel like just because you have your OES degree, that's all you need. That's just a bare minimum of what the adopted right really is. But it's all about the study. You know, I'm no greater or lesser than anyone. You know, we meet, part, and act the same way. So, you know, I just want to get that out there first, because, you know, man has a severe tendency to be, in these days, of becoming very sensitive and tender when he's so-called being brought to the floor about what he's in, and having the esotericness of it. You know, it's like you can ask 2 men who are both past masters, but one is worshipful master. And you say, well, who's the worshipful master? Only one person raised their hand. Who's the past master? Only one person raised their hand. When really, it's really, what's up? Yes, sir, how you doing? Yeah. Okay, because I'm on a Zoom. You gonna be here for a minute? Yeah, I'm here. Okay, we'll talk. Yes, sir, because I'm on a Zoom call. Yes, sir. So, I'm sorry. So, there's, we have a lot of, both men are past masters. You know, you are a past master, you're just the sitting master. A lot of times what goes wrong is that we're really not taught. The people that you have in leadership really don't, they want the real true representation. And we get lost with thinking that as leaders, you're supposed to teach everyone. And that's not your job. This says, you know, when you first come in there, what did you do? You ask someone. And so therefore, when you ask someone and they vouch for you, it's your job to get discernment. It's your job to study. It's your job to study all of the things around you. It's your job to know what a steward is. Well, how do you find out what a steward is? Well, why don't you watch bees? Why don't you watch ants? You know, ants and bees do things without complaining. They do things for a purpose and a reason. And so that's basically, you know, the it of that. Just a mild part of it. You know, it's you can't be stagnant and just stay where you are. You know, you can't continue to just always say, well, you know, I'm only from John G. Jones Lodge in California, so those are only brothers that I talk to. Well, then you know nothing more than the next person in there, because that's the only type of traveling that you do. So I don't get into the titles and the degrees, because people act different when they do that. That's the reason why I said that when we went to Palace with Minister Farrakhan. You know, I didn't want to have anything on. I don't want to say who I am and all of that, because when you're talking to a brother, you want to talk to them as who they are. That's why you pray with your palms up. You bring nothing covered, hidden, none of that. So any questions, comments, or concerns, you know, I can speak. If there's any, if I said anything to hurt anyone's feelings or cause you to be a little uneasy, please, from the bottom of my heart, it was intentional, and you just got to deal with it.
First of all, I want to say thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Anytime we're together, you know, the conversation we have, they can go either way. And so on tonight, when we're talking about grasping the true essence of esoteric masonry, what does that look like? When you talk about esoteric masonry, what does that feel like? Because what I've found in my own journey is that the more I indulge myself into masonry, the different doors begin to open as far as different perceptions, different techniques, just a whole different flow within masonry is activated. What I find a lot of times is that when you're talking to different individuals in regards to that, they don't understand the flow, nor do they see that happening in their own Masonic journey, because they have not yet been able to tap that esoteric side of Freemasonry, which is really out there, which is a true side of Freemasonry. When you're able to break down the symbolism and the hidden meaning behind those square, the points, the compass, the sacred volume of law, those things really mean something. When you look at those 8 emblems and what each one of them really represents, and how can you apply that and work within the framework of those working tools and things that have been handed to us on a symbolic level, then the whole prospect of Freemasonry turns differently, especially when you start to ascend into the appending bodies. The things you thought you knew in the beginning, the inner apprentice, fellowcraft, master mason, in my own journey, those things totally flip. They totally be like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was told that it meant this. But when you get into the appending bodies, it's something totally different. Go ahead.
Well, most of the time, again, you know, I'm not the end all to be all of Masonry. I just have a particular study habit, and I bring things a little differently from a different type of thought process and mindset. It says, what does this allude to? See, one of the confusing things that happens is that we confuse being taught with being told.
Mm-hmm.
And we get told something, and then we say, well, I was taught. No, you weren't. You were told something. Because when you're taught something, you can break it down like fractions into its least common denominator. Masonry means whomever's on the call. Masonry means something different to everyone here. You should not be thinking the same way as Brother Muhammad or myself or anyone else. This is the reason why we have issues when we have arguments politically, because you say, well, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. That means you've made a choice and you've made a decision to do something because that's what fits the narrative. Yet as a Mason, you're supposed to be an independent thinker. So if you're an independent thinker, then you wouldn't be a Republican or Democrat, because you can think for yourself, not the way that the water's flowing. And so, see, esoteric is the inner meaning, the inner workings of what the word means. It's like the spiritualism of esotericness is Sufism. That's S-U-F-I, Sufism. That's the hidden meanings of what the words are, not being. See, in Islam, you have a lot of different types of Muslims. See, being the Muslim is that you submit your will to God. But there are different types of Muslims. You have zealots, which have a particular name. You have Hanafis, you have Sufis, you have Shia, you have Orthodox, you have all different types because they have different methods of how they understand it, you know. So it's no different in the order. See, you have all kinds of churches. You have AME, CME, AME Zion, you have Baptist, you have all these different things, but you still have one Christ, one Jesus. In the order, you have all kinds of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 letter Masons, but you still only have one Amen Res, one set of bylaws, and depending on what you choose to do will determine whether you deal with all 25 or just those that help you, or those, you know, those Grand Lodges that like creating bylaws to fit their narrative to keep someone in or out of office, because a lot of people love to die in the seat. And what happens is, see, the first esotericness that has to happen is you can never call yourself my brother if you are a trash brother in real life. You can't have a horrible relationship at home, but you have a good relationship in the order. You can't be a horrible husband, decision maker, leader at home in your life, in your street life, but you want to be the worshipful master. That understanding what the word worshipful means is something. See, and even mastering, see, that's esoteric because you can't master the order. 360 degrees means that's a full, complete circle. You only getting 33, and that's only over here in the West. And 33 is cold. That's a freezing level. You don't really start cooking until you get to 95, 96, 97, 100 degrees, but that's still a never-ending thing with the study. And so it's, the way that you can develop esoteric is taking words and breaking them down and looking beyond the meanings. We speak the rituals all the time. So who can't be a Mason? Well, no woman can be a Mason. But there's female orders that are older than OES, they're older than heroines, and it's Egyptian, but they weren't Masons. See, in order to know what a Mason is, you have to know that that means someone who had a charter or warrant of dispensation. But now you have, okay, co-masonry. So you got women. Well, how do you know? Are there any women on this call?
None.
Okay, so therefore, you know when you have your two-ball game that she can't prove that she's that. So therefore, it doesn't matter what kind of apron she has on, what her collar looks like, what she calls herself. She can't prove the actual factuals of what we're doing. So she is in fact clandestine. She's irregular. She's not who she says she is. So someone, as you've heard me say before in lectures, if anyone was to accuse you of being a Mason, is there sufficient enough evidence to convict you, or is it mistaken identity? Now, I respect whatever anyone does and practices in this world, on this planet, but I don't accept everything. Now, there are sisters that are involved in various degrees, because remember, there are only 3 adoptive right orders. Everything else is androgynous and appendant bodies. So therefore, it has sisterly councils and what have you. But now, when you're dealing with the winding stairs, when you're on the first floor of a tall building, every time you take the stairs, most of the stairs are on the right or the left side of the building. When you get to the second floor, you can look out the window and see where you at downstairs. Now you're up on the 30th floor. You can look out the window and see the same thing. Now you're on the 100th floor. You can look out the window and see the same thing, but it's a little bit more nervousness when you're looking out that window, on that stairwell. That window is, that building is swaying back and forth like this here. So there's a little bit more turbulence. So when you have that turbulence and you're still on that same side, you've seen this before, but it's a little bit different. In the Navy, they talk about captains of the seas, and no man has ever become a captain of the sea without having rough water. You have to have gone through something. What do we call it with us? It's being often tried. So now, if you've been often tried, that means you've been through some things. But when you say, well, I've been never denied, you mean no one has told you no? You've never been told no ever? We don't pay attention to those things. We read things and we just say it. Where's the worshipful master station in the light? Oh, in the east. As the sun rises in the east. Tell me when you've ever seen the sun rise. The sun doesn't move. The earth moves. But those are things that we have to accept. But it's not factual. How do I know you to be such? By my perfect points of entrance. What does perfect mean? That means right and exact. How do you come in a room? People should know who you are when they see you, not by the things you wear. And that's what happens with us. It's a pride thing. You got to be coachable, man. If you're not coachable, You can't, you know, you talk about esoteric. Esoteric and exoteric. Exoteric is EXO. Exoteric is the outside. So you have on the jewel, the compass and square. That's the jewel. The esoteric is the meaning, the circumscription of the compass. What does that mean? When you're dealing with the esoteric, that's understanding what the compass and square means. Squaring my actions, that means being right and exact with all things that I do, but more especially with the brother Mason. Circumscribing all things, but keeping all things within due bounds, but more especially with the brother. This is the reason why it's always said at the very end of our meetings, how do we meet? How do we part? And how do we act? When you say something is on the level, that means being right and exact. Being on the level. That's the esoteric. This stuff isn't hard. We can come up with all of these pretty slogans and sayings, et cetera, and look the part. But I was asked to give the instruction to the Supreme Council at the jurisdiction that I came from in Arkansas in July. And what I'm dealing with is the ring and the crown, because a lot of people, we wear a lot of things and really don't know the meanings of what we're wearing. We don't know really why the eagle is used as the symbol of the Scottish Rite. We've never paid attention that the lion is not the smartest animal. He's not the biggest. But the lion has a mindset of when he sees an elephant, he get ready to do something to him. How does that happen? Why is the elephant even scared? It's about the mindset. So, you know, I don't want to be rambling, just talking about different things, because you know me, and I don't know who else is on the call, but you know, brothers know me.
I have Wishful Master Goodman on here tonight. If he wants to tune in or say something, he's certainly welcome to chime in. Brother Goodman.
Brother Day, Islam Moab.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Well,
I'm holding the Southern Gate down the best I can with what's going on, so I'm hanging in there. But
Islam Moab.
well, I want to know if you wanted to comment or had anything else to say, because
no, I like where he's going with it, because a lot of people don't understand a lot of things. Even when you read material, you're reading what somebody else is telling you. Mm-hmm. The point is, you read enough from different points and points of views until you're able to think for self. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't realize it. They say, they say, what book did you get it from? When I can sit there and I can logically say, this is this and that is that, and it's that, I don't need to back it up, because I know it's there. I know water, what we call water on this earth, that's what it is. It's water. I don't need nobody to sit there and point it out in a book that, oh yeah, that H2O makes the water. It's there, right? It's known. Mm-hmm. We have to get to the point where we study enough to where we can think for self, and that's why we're all different points within the circle, because what Tony's going to think, what I'm going to think, what Brother Diaz is going to think, Brother Johnson and Morphe's going to think may not be the same, but it may all be in unity and work as one towards a different part of creation and a different creative path in our system. And see, that's why a lot of times I just listen in, but I don't want to speak on it, because it's got to the point that I've read so much material and studied so much material that, okay, when I look at certain things, I can see this. I can see how that works. I can see the mechanics of it and how it's going. So it makes sense to me. It may not make sense to somebody else because they don't understand those mechanics.
But see, that goes back to understanding the true concept of when Brother Jackson was talking about esoteric and esoteric, as far as breaking that down and getting what you're going to get out of it. Like he said, what I get out of it is not going to necessarily be what you get out of it, but once you're able to get the tangibles from it, then you can have that conversation on both ends of the spectrum. You can legitimately come and have that conversation, but most people don't ever get there because, like he said before, most people, what they begin to say is, this is what somebody told me. So once you crack the book open and read it for yourself, you develop your own opinion based on the information before you. And then even with that, what you have before you, you go and you bring in other things and you develop your own opinion, your own idea based upon the information that you find is suitable for what you have read, what you got. This is why when you go back and you begin to look at the emblems of Masonry and how it developed and how you can apply it to your life, be it the beehive, be it the trowel, or be it the level, the square, the plumb, any of those tools that you use. And as he so eloquently put it a little while ago, the higher you go, those things are going to flip. You're going to get extra tools as you move up, but things are going to change a little bit more because the higher you get up, things are going to flip. The perception that you have from here looking up is different than the perception you have when you're up looking down. So
you know what? I got a perfect example of that to show you what I'm about to do.
Appreciate it.
Now we all read about the 47th problem of Euclid. We know where he got it from. And when you break it down to where he got it from, and you bring the truth.
Oh, okay.
Truth brings it to the original Trinity.
Okay.
And that's why I had this made like this. I had this custom made like this. Because while everybody's wearing the emblem as the 47th problem of Euclid, I'm taking it back to Kemet.
Take it back just a little bit. Take it back just a little bit.
I'm taking it back to
right there.
The masculine energy, the feminine energy, creation.
Okay.
Oh, this represents my aunt.
Oh, snaps. Okay. So you brought okay, there you go.
But all that was just from the 47th problem of Euclid. That's not even the square and compass.
Oh, I see Brother Jackson put the with the all saying I on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and it's interesting because, like I said, a lot of brothers, and if you think about it, Islam broke it down a long time ago. Nobody was listening. You got 85%, you got your 15%, you got your 5%, then you got your 1%. The majority of the world is going to be stuck in 85%. It's not meant, it really wasn't meant for everybody to get it. So that's why I say you can try to teach a person, but they're only going to understand what they can understand.
Right.
They're only going to be able to travel as far as they can travel. That's your 85%. Your 15% are those that, hey, they know that they got this 85% that they can lead forth and instruct. Then you got your 5%, and then you have your 1%. 1%, they just sitting in the background because their mind is not even worried about those things that are minute, worried about power control. They're more on a universal level as far as what their purpose is in this universe, on this planet, how they're going to act, how they're going to function, what they're going to contribute, what they're going to take when they move in the next energy form.
All right, brother Christopher, go ahead, talk to me.
I know, see, what used to happen back in the days was that, we studied a lot of different things because we wanted to be learned, as brother always said, learned. I've studied the book of Revelations that Imam Isa had created with New Arabian Nation of Moors. This was long before all of these different names came up, where it became Melchizedeki, Malachi Z. York, all the rest of it, and the Cherokee Nation. I'm way before that when he was saying he was direct descendant of Prophet Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah. And so you have to eat the fish and spit the bones out. That's the normal thing. Everything that you see and everything that you're getting, man is like in the more science temple. It says man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed. For a man to know, he must first be what he knows. And for you to know the order, you have to be that. You know, when you speak about you are a chef, you have to know food. You have to know the ins and outs. You know, I am a certified hair designer. See, I use the mantra of certified, qualified, verified, and certified. A lot of people are not that. You know, that's why they lose. When you have to have belief, faith, and fruition. You have to have belief, faith, and fruition in everything that you, in all things that you're doing. So when you'll, it's easy to lose that. Sometimes you'll lose that if you don't have one. What is faith? Belief in the things that are unseen. You know, what is the fruition? The fruition is seeing it, and belief is knowing that it's gonna happen. You know, so it's always gonna turn into something, but you have to. It's about the study. See, that's the reason why you use it. That's why the camel is used. The symbolism of the camel is about endurance. Just going and going, without having to have all these rations. This is the purpose of fasting. Being able to make it without having to have everything. Being able to do without. And a lot of people don't have that. As the brother said, you know, everyone doesn't study the same. Everyone has a different understanding because of their level of what they're willing to deal with. You know, when you're captured, they call that torture. See, that's why in the analogy of a pot roast. See, when you have a pot roast, you have the meat, you have all of your spices, all of your vegetables, everything that you're putting in there. When you cover that lid up, you put that heat on it, you come back hours later, you smell everything in the room. But you really don't know what's in a man until you put some heat on it to know what's really up in him. You got a lot of people call themselves brother just because they passed the initiation, but you've really never put him through anything to see if he's your brother. How many people you know of that keep slander on a man's name, and then you brothers keep company with him, and you know he's wrong. You see, so are you really a brother, or are you one of them ruffians? You see, so that's what the test is. You know, that's just the way that is, man. You know, but this is a never-ending study, and proficiency in not just the work, but proficiency in what you do out here. See, proficiency doesn't override popularity now. Now it's popularity to be in office. So when you're proficient, that has nothing to do with what you. Oh man, you know that Tony, he know that whole ritual from 1 to 33. Well, Tony just got a good memory, because I can remember how many line dances we know. So it don't have nothing to do with what you remember. It's about what you can do out in these streets. All of that Q&A and all of this challenging and all that. Ain't no Masonic police. You've heard me say that before. How many people you walk by, drive by, and you haven't fed? You throwing food away, and you know some people out there homeless. You looking the other way when people walk up to your car, and he's smelling like 16 months ago. But you spending all kind of money at the club, but you couldn't slide $5 in his pocket just because. All he asked for, when you talk about esotericness, doesn't it say all he wants is a mustard seed? Why can't you give a mustard seed to society? Those are conversations a lot of people don't want to have. You know, we've gotten to the point now, we used to move in silence. But now anything we doing, it's broadcast. I'm down here at the mission, you know, I'm feeding everybody because relevance is a hell of a drug. We need to be seen and not heard. Yet we grew up that way. It's better to be seen than heard. We don't want to do that anymore.
That's true.
That's a self-esteem issue. This is why, see, long ago, I used to always talk about cars and this and that. I'm a music junkie. I intentionally keep a lot of stuff in my truck to keep from putting my sound system back in there because I'm a music head. We ride big rims, paint jobs and all of that, not for self. We do that for other people. How many times have you known there was a nail in your tire unless you saw it flat? Somebody had to tell you. A scratch on your car, somebody had to tell you. A light out, somebody had to tell you. You in the car leaning and driving just so other people could see it. Oh, there go Tony. And you smiling, yeah, they see me. Uh-huh. But ain't nobody throw $10, $20 in your tank. And you the one out there driving to be seen. But you know where all the Kool-Aid stains are in the car. You know where the chicken bone is. You know where everything is in the car because you're in there. That's my whole point. Why do we do things for man to see? Vain and inconsistent thou art. These are just the different lessons. They're just different lessons. And so I would always implore brothers to study all things and all ways of life because it says seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. In some spiritual lessons, it says seek knowledge from here to China. You know, China's all on the other side of the planet. So that means study all the way over there. Just keep studying all the time. We don't like doing that. We want things to be given to us. This is why brothers be talking, you know, man, they ain't teaching me nothing down there at John G. Jones. You know, I had to leave. You know, they do. Everything is an excuse for your own frailties, faults, and failures. I
like the way you put that. I like the way you put that. Everything is an excuse for your own faults and failure. Absolutely.
Your own frailties, faults, and failures. Excuses are just well thought out lies. That's all they are. They're well thought out lies.
I like that. I like that. Well,
so remember, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You finish up, I'll come in.
No, remember when you had the desire to do the John G. Jones Memorial, I said, well, brother, where I came from, they're the ones who put the wall up, these different names, et cetera, you know, those are my people. I said, I'll get you in contact with who you need to, and you can make the moves you want to make. And everything came about, everybody showed up, we did what we did. I said, but do not put my name in that. I didn't want my name in it because I didn't do that for reputation and fame. Mm-hmm. See, I learned that studying the more science, Noble Drew Ali. A master never screens himself for reputation or fame. Mm-hmm. And so that happens a lot of times. Well, you know, Tony, I was the first one to do this, that, and the other. You know, if it wasn't for me, Tony, you know, you wouldn't have. And you know, I'm from the Long Beach Mohammeds. You know, I'm not one of those Mohammeds from the South. You know, and people do that now. We do that in the order. You treat one another differently based on where you're from. That's why they always say, where you from? What side of town you from? Oh, I'm from the South side. I'm from the West side. And you treat a brother differently based on where he's from, not how he comes. But I could be a brother from Miami, Florida. You could be from Portland, Oregon. And we met in Oklahoma City. You had on a hat, I had on a hat. We grip one another, we say who we are, and we supposed to treat one another. Suppose is a hell of a word. And we become family right then. But what you want to do, you want to sit up and hold my hand all night like we from Atlanta, whispering all in my ear, asking me questions, trying to see just how much masonry I know. It's a pissing contest. For what?
See, and that's I'm glad you brought that up, because one of my biggest things is a lot of people have a tendency to try to do like a power trip. Either a power trip of what they think they know, or a power trip of a title they think they have. And it's
You know,
not about
brother,
the title, and it's not about what you know. It's about how you utilize what you know. It's what
brother, the most,
understanding you have from it and how you put it into practice.
that's
Because
right.
I had a guy from Prince Hall back in Tennessee try to play that game with me. And when he asked me, from whence come you? And I'm like, we in church, really? So I let him play that game, and I didn't say that. I just looked at it. He said, oh, you're going to say from the largest holy St. John's of Jerusalem. I said, how you know I wasn't going to say from the east to the west in search of light? Then he paused. I said, but I'm not Prince Hall. I just know the games you play. We ain't had that issue no more after that conversation, because the power trip ended when I killed him. And I explained to that brother, I said, I see you as a Mason, and I'm glad you recognize me as a Mason. But when you try to come at me from knowledge, if you're trying to communicate with me where it's cloudy and we using what we learned in catechism, that's cool with me. That's what it's there for. That's the language to communicate, so nobody knows what we're talking about. That's our business. But when you try to use that language to try to play me out just because you think you're somebody greater, nah, bro, don't work that way.
You know, brother, that situation happens, and a lot of brothers only respond based off of what the book is. But I've always understood that, see, number one, protection is for the police. So there's no such thing as how to protect your emblem. Now, you can defend anything that you wear. Here's the thing. From whence come you? All right. First of all, you said, well, he was supposed to say from the lodge of Holy St. John's, Jerusalem. Well, brother, you do understand that that makes me AF and AM. And if you Prince Hall, that shouldn't be your response.
Exactly.
Let that sit on your spirit for a minute. See, if you Prince Hall, you really learn modern. So your ritual should be different in the response that you get. Because see, when you said Holy St. John, that meant that you were old ancient Mason. That's where that comes from. But I ask them even further than that. Before the Holy St. John, who were the two patron saints? Since you ancient, and many of them can't tell you that. It was Moses and King Solomon. See, I don't forward knowledge. That point within the circle is really you and the boundaries of the order. But the point within the circle is also a 32nd degree symbol. So it's also everything comes. See, York and Scottish. York is the exoteric of the order, the history. The Scottish is the esoteric of the order. The hidden meanings behind it. Because there's royal art and Knights Templar. Isn't it strange that the most puissant and the Supreme Grand Master have the same emblem? The Salem Cross. So people don't pay attention to that. You think, oh, I got to pick a side. No, you don't pick a side. Most people in this order, they study modern. They don't study ancient free, but they say they ancient free. Well, if you're ancient free, you don't even have a G in your emblem. That's an American custom.
Exactly.
But the deputy Grand Master, he's never been elected. That's an American custom. He's appointed. The deputy doesn't even have a pillar in the room. He does what I tell him to do as the Grand Master. And that's only when I can't make it. You got 4 lodges, you got a deputy Grand Master. That ain't the purpose of the deputy. The deputy was there when you had to go all over California, visiting Grand Lodges in your state. That's the purpose of the deputy. Because when the Grand Master is the representative of the order, but the junior warden is the law in the state, because the Grand Master only got the gavel 4 times a year. No different than the junior warden in your lodge, and no different than the Grand Patron. The Grand Matron ain't the law in there. The Grand Patron is. But when you don't know and you get told a lot, you stand up and you talk loud with your chest, and wrong is 2 left shoes.
That's true.
So, no, see, we are the 1%. I've always known it's 85% and 5%. You got 85%, 10%, and 5%. 85% is the ones who just don't know, that they call the deaf, dumb, and blind. The 10% are those in that are in control, and the 5% are the ones who always get ostracized and ridiculed. See, we're the ones that are called militant. He's a little toxic. All the rest of this garbage that everybody wants to throw a label and narrative on because you really don't want to recognize that I got a pair. I got a pair.
Exactly.
So as my grandmaster knows, I told him I'm building a lodge. He said, because I know you're going to say, I'm not just taking anything. You got to have a piece of your grandmaster's spirit as a worshipful master, and your members have to have a piece of your spirit. I'd rather have
that is true. That's true right there. When you say that they have to have a piece of your spirit, because if you have someone in leadership that doesn't have that zeal, that go get them spirit, your organization's not going to thrive. They're going to be relaxed too. They're going to sit back and kick it too. But if you got someone who's like rah, let's go, then that pumps everybody else up. When they see you move, we move.
This is the reason. This is the reason why I like old books, because it gives those nuggets up. See, here's something just for those who may have seen it or didn't have it. Here's the thing. The old worshipful master's assistant, the hardback, the small worshipful master assistant. There are prerogatives of the worshipful master. And it speaks about the worshipful master should be zealous in all things of Masonic information. You shouldn't have to be asking the past masters what to do.
Exactly.
You should be, when you say, I accept, that means you already know what time it is. See, I love that about Prince Hall. You're going to sit one and done. So you have 7 years to get it together once you become a student, because you move from here, and then in the East. It's completion, 7. Completion. So once you've done that, then you should know what you need to do. See, a lot of past masters really don't understand. You're a has-been. You used to be.
Exactly.
But you want to get up lip boxing. Hold on. I didn't tell you can talk. I got something to say. Not in this meeting. We'll talk later. Oh, we need to get him out of office. He don't want. No. That's called treason.
Exactly.
But we don't like to do that, because see, when you hold something over someone's head, well, I'm gonna eat all the ass I can find because I want to get me a white hat. Because Tony Muhammad is the most prudent. You laughing at stuff that ain't even funny. You dancing and don't even get music. And Tony say, man, this sky is blue. Yeah, it is blue out there. Wait a minute. What are you doing? But these are because people think that it's over with when you get your white hat, and don't recognize really what the wings are for. You're supposed to cover a brother. That's what your covering is about. It's no different. It was no different in more science. It's a whole, however you find it, however you study it, it doesn't change. I learned how to be a steward watching ants. I sat up and I said, I had a cup of sugar that was in a little cap, and I set it down, and I watched the ants come a couple of days later. Every time I checked on them, a couple of ants came, they left, came back, and they moved every granule of sugar in that cap over the next 3-4 hours. They moved it all back to the house. Nobody pays attention. Ants don't carry disease. Ants only picking up what you left or dropped. That's why you don't need to kill ants. They're gonna clean up what you didn't. So it's how do we have rule and dominion over all of the fowls of the earth, but yet we treat animals better than we treat ourselves and one another? You treat your car better than you do me, because you got some good tires and a candy wet paint job, and it's looking nice. Oh yeah, that's my baby. But I'm him over there. I'm him downstairs.
That's true. That's true. A lot of people do that.
Yeah, but see, this whole thing that you've just broken down in a sense. We're talking about the ants and how they assisted in moving every grain of sugar, and how you're talking about how people look at your whip and all of that. When you take all of that and put it into place and perspective in the Freemasonry aspect, and especially when you're dealing with those who don't quite get it yet, the mature Mason, the one who can actually hold a decent conversation in regards to having a better comprehension of what Masonry is supposed to be without bringing in other outside thoughts as far as I can't talk to you sort of attitude. When you run across that type of brother, one who has his word and that's all he has, then you've come across a true brother of the Society of Freemasons, one who takes his word for what it is. Go ahead.
Here's what I learned. There should never be a time you sitting around, brothers, and you can't talk. Here's why I say that. There's nothing new under the sun. Being a Mason is about having a group of men around you who have the same direction that they're going, but getting there different ways. It's a lot of ways to get to California. I don't have to be on this route. I can take this road. It may be longer, it may be tougher, it may be shorter, but I still got there. So when you're talking about brothers who have studied this, that, and other, or brothers who don't know. See, a lot of brothers say, well, I can't talk to you about that. That's because he don't know.
Exactly.
Boom.
He don't know. And he doesn't have the testicular fortitude to say, I don't know that, brother. Let me find out. But here's how that happens. See, I blame the investigation committee. We have prostituted the investigation committee. The investigation committee should be these people. The investigation committee should be only known by the worshipful master. The investigation committee should be 3 brothers who neither one of the 3, they see the candidate at the same time. See, I ask 3 things. A brother that says, okay, well, Brother Muhammad, I've always wanted to be a Mason. Okay, brother. He said, how can I do that? Because they still respect it. How can I do that? Well, this is what I need you to do. You believe in God? Yes, I do. Okay, well, as long as you call him, I'm not concerned with the name you call him. So I need you to do a book report on the book of Genesis. You know that there's 28 chapters in there. Yes, I do. So he's basically told you he may be a Christian faith. So even if he isn't, even if he's Muslim, he still respects the laws.
Zoom meeting I sent you a text about.
So when you say I need you to do a book report on the book of Genesis, how long you think you'll take? Well, give me 2 weeks. Okay, well, I'm gonna give you 30 days. I've doubled what you said you could do. You do. This is what it shows me as a brother about this candidate. I need you to write it. I don't want you to type it out. I need you to write it. And so if he writes it and he writes it well, it shows potential for a good secretary. Everybody doesn't like paper. If he researches it, I don't have to worry about him saying, they ain't teaching me nothing down there, because he seeks this on his own. And if he does it, that means he can take instruction from a stranger. Because if you remember when I started this conversation, I didn't even ask him his name. But he did what I asked him to do. He respected me that much that he would get it done, and he brought it back to the Grand Lodge and left it there because I gave him instruction. So I've found 3 things about him in doing that. I never allow a candidate to be brought into the order, and I haven't tried him enough to know that I can trust him around my wife, that I would go into business with him, and that I respect him from his consistency. If I don't see those 3 things in you, you're worthless to me. Why are you bringing brothers into the lodge that you can't trust around your woman? Either you think he gonna get her or she gonna give it up. why are you having brothers around you in the lodge that that you see now in leadership that are trash? Well, when they came in here, the people who investigated them did a piss poor investigation. This is supposed to be a body of men built by hands, not made with any type of ornaments. We are built and made, formed and fashioned by hands not made. Nothing physical. We're supposed to be built from a different, being a Mason is a conduct. It's a character. But we say, oh, that's my cable toe. Oh, yeah, that's my cable. No, do you even know what cable toe means? And then to do what you couldn't make the queue line, so you came here, not really knowing
I was just going to bring that up when you said that, because a lot of people like to try to bring in a frat mentality into Freemasonry.
But we started them. The original 7 jewels from the original jewels of A5A were brothers. And they took that to the college campuses to get them prepared. The Kappa initiation is damn near verbatim what we do.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so, you really don't. Can y'all hear me still?
I can hear you.
We still hear you, bro.
Okay, I got to take this call. I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
All right.
And see, Tony, that's one of my issues about bringing people in. And I understand we're small and we're building, but we got to be protective at the same time.
Right.
Because normally, when I came in, I was a candidate for 11 months, bro.
Uh-huh.
I came out to functions. I showed up, put in work with community. I came out to events and did my part. Fellowship with the brothers so that they can get a feel for me and I can get a feel for them. You won't know just he put in an application, somebody go to his house, and the next thing you know, I'm in there taking initiation. And that's what I'm letting everybody know in Faith Lodge, that, yeah, we're small, but if you look at who I'm bringing in, right now, I'm bringing in brothers that I already know that have been in Mason, and I already know where their heart is in Mason. Candidate-wise, we need to make sure that we know who these men are, what they're about, if their mindset is the same. We don't need followers. Well, everybody in this lodge needs to be a leader.
And that's why it goes back to the conversation we've often had about Masonry, who's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
You should already be a man of lawful age and well recommended. Well, what does that look like? Because tonight we're talking about esoteric Freemasonry. So what does that look like? That looks like you're supposed to be already established with a foundation in your life.
Can you let Vaughn in?
Who is that?
Brother Roberts.
Boom. You're supposed to already be established in your life when you say that. And just so the brothers know, we are live on YouTube as well as in our as well as on the Zoom. Okay, just so you'll be aware, we're live both settings on the Zoom and also in the YouTube page, just so you know. So in the process of a brother coming in who's seeking to be a Mason, who's trying to grasp and understand what it is to be a Mason, as we prepare him to be a Mason, he should already have a solid foundation outside of Freemasonry that would help and assist him and aid him in becoming a better Mason. Not a better man, but a better Mason. And this is what we do a lot of times. Mason help you to become a good man and become a better man. No. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to already be that.
Right.
In your team that goes out to your interview team, the one that goes out to investigate should go to your home and see what your livelihood look like.
Yeah.
And in bringing you in, then he has a better understanding of your foundation and where you at and what you're trying to accomplish in life. But what happens is usually that doesn't occur.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, I can vouch for that brother right there. Yeah, yada yada. But he comes in and he's the one that doesn't take and apply those 9 emblems, nor does he understand them. And then you're wondering why he's wilding out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
And see, and the thing is, and that's why I let everybody know when we had our meeting that I want everybody to be of the same mindset. I want everybody to, if you bring someone in, you know how we move, you know how we think, you know how we act. Is this person that you're going to bring us as a candidate of that same mindset? And if he's not, don't waste our time, don't waste his time. Because like I said, if somebody just wants to join an organization, there's the boys club, the girls club, there's the Elks Lodge. If you want to party, there's that thing. But in Masonry, it's all about how are you going to better yourself and what are you going to put back into the world. Like I said, I want everybody in my lodge not to look just for leadership, but also to look to be leaders. Come in as a leader. Our motto is lead by example, not just the leader, but every member of the lodge. Have that mindset. Already have that mindset. You're in the East in everything you do. When it comes to working in the community, have that mindset. You're a servant as well as a leader. Have that humbleness. Don't be willing to ask somebody to do something you're not willing to do.
Correct.
And like I said, we're not worried about gaining numbers. We're worried about getting that right flow or that right mentality of brothers, so that we can move accordingly and function accordingly. And if we say we're going to do this, it gets done. We're going to go out in the community and feed. Brothers going to come out and feed if they can't make it. We already know. We're going to know ahead of time so we can make up whatever we need to make up. It's not like we're going to get somebody at the last minute saying, oh man, and they really at the game. You see them on Facebook because they out at some of the barbecue instead out there helping out what we working at. And I said, it's
go ahead.
But and it's key. And there's a lot of people. There's a lot of good people out there, a lot of good people. But Masonry is not for everybody. It really isn't. And a person knows within themselves if it's for them or not, or if they're just trying to get something out of it. That's one of my key questions. What do you want to get from Masonry? Because I want to hear what they're going to say. Then I hit them with, what do you plan on giving the Masonry? Because you're only going to get what you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't put nothing into it, you're not going to get nothing from it. Guaranteed. I've seen it happen plenty of times.
Well, just like Wishful Master Poole just posted, he said, just because you are a good man doesn't translate to you being a good Mason.
Mm-hmm.
The key to that, brother Wishful Master, is that is just one of the requirements of being a Mason.
Yeah.
That is just one of the requirements of being a Mason. And if he meets that requirement, plus the requirement of believing in a supreme being, and whatever other requirements that your lodge may have him to seek out, then he's being prepared to be a Mason. So you're right in a sense, but what does that mean for your lodge? He's a good man. What else does he meet? What other standards does he meet?
Exactly.
So those standards are set by your investigation team, whether he meets that or not. Because what happens a lot of times is that, yeah, he's a good man. He got a great job, great family, but he sucks, in so many words.
And like I told brothers before, I've been known, and throughout my Masonic travels, if I have a candidate that is interested, if I can talk him out of being a Mason, it wasn't his heart in the first place.
Ooh, repeat that again.
If I can talk him out of being a Mason, it's not in his heart. When I came out of Faith Lodge 162 in Norfolk, Virginia, everybody in our Grand Lodge, we had people come up, and it didn't matter what, it was like 9 lodges. It didn't matter what lodge we was from. If somebody came up to any of us and we all in a group, and that brother told me he wanted to be a Mason, we all of us, didn't care what lodge we came from, trying to talk him out of it just because he had a nerve to come tell us he wanted to be a Mason. Because it's easy to say, but if I can sit there and verbally convince you that you don't want it, then the truth is you don't want it, and it's not for you.
Right. So how do one bring in a member or bring in an individual who wants to be a Mason, but then when he goes down the rabbit hole, how do you maintain, how are you able to maintain his sanity? Because for those of us who are going down the rabbit hole, your whole perspective changed now. Let's just be honest. When you go down that rabbit hole, your perspective changed.
You can't feed them everything at one time. That's why I strongly uphold what's in that degree is what that person should get until they're ready to move forward. When brothers are not master masons, technically, unless they are within their lodge, they shouldn't be interacting outside the lodge. They don't pay Grand Lodge dues. EAs and fellow crafts don't pay a Grand Lodge due. Why are they interacting with my Grand Lodge? They need to be learning from us in my lodge so that when that day comes, they can interact and they don't have to worry too much when they go in that rabbit hole because they understand you're in your own house. If you get into a snag, you're in-house, we're going to make sure you understand because we're not going to leave you hanging. We're going to teach you at the same time and give you understanding.
I can appreciate that.
Process. You just can't throw them out there like that. You gotta take an EA, a candidate to an EA does not know how to look like a Mason, act like a Mason, walk like a Mason, think like a Mason, know anything of a lodge. He knows nothing of this. So why throw him out there in all this environment? You gotta groom him and build him up first. And then see how he takes on to that. If you see that he's grasping it and that he's getting that understanding, that's somebody you can build up a little faster. If he's somebody that's real slow with it, getting bits and pieces, but they're active, work with that person. You know what I'm saying? And let them build as they go, but you just can't move everybody at the same speed because they're not. When I came through, my junior warden, senior warden, and secretary constantly coming to pick me up from my house and taking me around here and doing that. But they weren't doing that with everybody else in my line. But everybody else in my line wasn't hungry like I was. And they saw that. They saw that I'm in my books, I'm in my study. I'm reaching out to the past masters with questions, and they saw my hungerness. So they kept feeding me. They couldn't do that with everybody. And I didn't realize that until like 2 years after I became a master mason. And that's the thing is, it's a gradual growth. And those first 2 degrees is really going to tell how we anchor these brothers down in the craft. And if we bring them in where they're getting into rabbit holes left and right, they're going to get discouraged because they're going to feel like, man, I didn't did this, did that. They're going to have that shamefulness on them when they really shouldn't. I had a brother go with me to an event one time, and I knew he was in the lodge I was in, but I was no longer with that lodge. I just went to the event to fellowship, and me and him traveled up there together. And I told him, I said, bro, there are guys that know me. If they see you with me with all that light you have on, they're going to try you. I know where you came from. So be prepared. I said, I best suggest you find everybody in your lodge and hang with, because you hang around me, I know all these cats from these other states. And they see you with me, they're going to think you one of mine, and they're going to hit you left and right.
Right. So
we get to the compound for the birthday celebration. And sure enough, it happened. They said, yo, what's up, man? And they were just conversating, because we'd like to do a lot of in-house teaching. So they said, are you a Mason? He said, oh yeah, I'm a Mason. Boom, I shook my head and just said, all right, you're on your own, bro. I already warned you. But I didn't leave, I just stepped back a little bit. So, you know, they said, they were talking to him and he didn't know certain things, but they didn't leave him like that. They explained to him why I asked you that question, what response I was trying to get back from you and why, so I could see you in darkness and light. So they didn't leave that man hanging at all, and they didn't make it threatening. And I was glad it was all done in-house and not where he's somewhere out of state with some jurisdiction that doesn't know this guy. Because some people can hang themselves like that. But see, if he was brought up right as an EA and a fellow craft, that would have never happened. He wasn't. He was rushed through. You're gonna make it EA. Next thing you know, you're gonna make it fellow craft. Next thing you know, you're gonna make your master mason. Boom, here you walk. You're a mason, float around where your emblems. A lot of cats don't play that game. And he got a good taste of that, but not in a harmful way, in a learning way, and with love, because the brothers realized things they were just asking him, he didn't know and understand, and they didn't use it to intimidate it. They used it as a teaching experience. And they said, hey, bro, if this ever happens, you know, from your studies and from where you learned that at, this is how you would respond. And the thing is, the sad part about that whole situation was that brother didn't even take that in that sense. He took it as if he got thrown to the wolves because he went out the rabbit hole. And even though them brothers showed him love, his whole way of taking it when he went back to his lodge was, oh, Goodman let me get thrown under the bus. Goodman told you before you got there, you hang around me, there's a lot of cats who know where I come from, know what ground I stand on. They're gonna wonder if you're somebody I raised.
Yeah, because more than likely, when you are with another brother Mason or even a sister of the Order of Eastern Star, and they know that this brother is well represented, that he knows his work, they're going to assume that because you're around that person, you know your works too. So it is the ultimate case for brothers of the craft and sisters of the order to learn the works, the interworkings of how and what is hidden within your chapter in your lodge. But we learned that a lot of people don't go that route. A lot of people never gets there. They can't seem to grab hold to it, and some fade away. But like you said, though, if you try to convince a person not to become a Mason, he still becomes one, then he's that guy. I never looked at it from that point of view. I'm going to have to use that one.
Yeah, that's
just as a note, I totally agree with the noble. Being one of the newer Master Masons without our jurisdiction, you can't just accept anybody. It took the person that I approached about becoming a Mason. It took them 4 years to let me finally join. Because he was literally, before he even brought me to be interviewed by the members of the lodge, he was watching me for 4 years by himself. So you're not supposed to bring just anybody in. This is not, like you said, this isn't, this ain't the social club. This is something that we breathe and live every single day. And in regards to going down that rabbit hole, absolutely. I am so thankful that I had brothers around me that were my senior that kept me focused on what it is I needed to be focused on with all the other craziness that I had in my head. They kept me focused on my studies. I was like, well, I'm starting to see this. They're like, look, you're going to get there soon enough. Focus on this.
But that's why Brother Goodman was riding your butt so hard.
I was just about to say that.
But at the same time, he also knew I had a little bit more in me. There was more in the tank that they let on.
But see, you understand when you open up that door and I started asking you specific questions, especially when we're talking about New York, because I know I know Prince Hall in New York, and I know how they are. So when these certain answers you were giving me, I was like, hold up, bro. Red flags was going off, man.
Right, but which is why when I came to y'all,
that's when we got to have that protective mindset when it comes to our lodge and who comes in our lodge. Because what if you were somebody? That's why when
I came to y'all, I had to get right.
That got expelled from that lodge for some treacherous reason, and then you decided, because there's a brother out here in Vegas that tries to jump in and out of lodges because he gets expelled from jurisdictions left and right. He's been expelled from all of them. But see, people do that, and when somebody throws you a red flag, if you're not paying attention and you just like okay with it, nah, man, you want to get down to what's going on. When I was an EA and I'm coming through, I did some things when I was being given instruction from my senior warden that threw off a red flag. I'm a candidate coming to an EA that threw up a red flag, blindfolded with a hoodwink on. You know how that feels when you get rushed into an ante room by 5 different people, blindfolded, them yelling and screaming and asking you 50 million questions because you did something that seemed like he knows something he shouldn't know about Masonry, bro. And after we had that conversation and everything cleared up, I continued through, but they let me know how serious it is about protecting our order and who comes in our order. I learned that on day 1.
And that's the same thing that I iterate to, anyone that comes into the jurisdiction or even asks me about it. I say, first and foremost, please understand, this is not the party house. We're not chilling here. We do work. We are very, very organized. We are very, very centric on our brothers within our organization, and we do fellowship with everybody. As long as you show me love, I'm showing you love back. And I think that's one of the things that has made this jurisdiction in regards to how we bring in candidates, the people within our jurisdiction are solid. When we say we got each other's backs, we got each other's backs. Nobody's over here backbiting and talking crazy about people and none of that. This jurisdiction is different. Not just us dealing with our first three, our Enter the Apprentice, our fellow craft, and our Master Mason. But when we start talking about the esoteric side of things and, the guidance from Brother Sutton, bro, we are on a whole nother level.
But that's why we want everybody to get the meat and potatoes first, because again,
exactly, because
they don't know the basics. If I got an EA coming in here and I start telling him about he was taking a trip around a universal, around the universe and going to his heart, mind, and soul and beating that's not a rabbit hole. He would be looking like, what?
That's not, but brother, that is not the rabbit hole.
But he ain't ready for that wormhole. First thing
he is not ready.
Is that you were entered. First, you let a password in the grip and understand. And understand that you went through circumambulation going around, doing a ritual around an altar. But once you understand that, then maybe at that point, then I can break you into what that was all representation of on the esoteric side. Because the esoteric side is about self. That's that build.
It's funny you say that because I told a brother when he stepped into the lodge, he stepped into the universe. He was like, what?
As right there in front of you, the terrestrial and the celestial. You ain't figured it out.
Exactly.
I said, when you stepped into your lodge, you stepped into the universe. He was like, oh my goodness.
Hey, Tony?
Yeah.
I told that brother over there named Roberts that I was messing with him. I said, those are the gates of Anubis. He looked at me like, huh? I said, I ain't gonna say no. I say no more. Because you don't need to know that yet till you're ready.
That is true. like what somebody just posted.
See, if they don't get it on the EA degree with those two columns, with those, what they're seeing, and then on the fellow craft understand what it is, and from the masonry understand what it is, by the time they get to where we at, then they see those two columns as something totally different.
They will.
And they'll understand that there's portals all around. And until you understand the portal and how to use that portal, why should I tell you about it?
Yep. And that's the thing. That's the key essence right there when you talk about portals. Because when you walk between those two pillars, you are walking into a portal. Trust me. As Brother Christopher Jackson was saying a little while ago in watching the ants and all of that, even the ants, when they see this thing, they have their own universe. Just think of that. And then we have ours. I mean, everything revolves around something. I mean, it's nothing new under the sun, as he said. But when you begin to take hold and look at masonry and from a different perspective, as you go up and then you look down, you just see it differently.
That's been my biggest struggle. Because a lot of things don't seem the same no more. I mean, somebody asked me something, I'm gonna show it to them in black and white to make them feel good. But the thing is, you have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Some people are in one stage of gaining the knowledge. Some people are at the stage of gaining the wisdom. And then you have those that are at the understanding of how the two combine and work. But everybody's not at that same point. So I can't give you something if I'm in an understanding, but you're still over here trying to gain that knowledge.
Yeah,
I got to show you some places and some references in black and white, because that's where your mindset is at. But once your mindset has developed those first 200 160, 120, the first 240 degrees, once you've mastered that part, and then you start tipping over to the other side of it, that's when you're self-thinking. Everything you read, I mean, it helped you get to that point, so you can think for yourself. If it's cold, I put on a jacket.
As Brother Jackson said a little while ago, everybody's not capable of thinking for themselves, though.
The system trains people not to think for themselves anymore. Remember that time I was bringing up a conversation about the natural state and the governed state?
Uh-huh.
And if man wasn't governed and was in his natural state, he would be much more powerful, because then he could actually be his true self and not.
It's called high-end slavery. It's called high-end slavery.
High-end slavery.
It's called high-end slavery.
I mean, you think about it. If you take a lot of land but you're in there moving out the rocks, taking out the grass, you're cutting down the shrubs. It's not growing to what it can fully be. But if you allow it to grow in its natural state, you don't know what fruits would come from there, what life would grow from there. It's doing its full potential. Same thing with a person.
I'm sorry, you brothers, you know that I just lost my aunt about an hour ago. I have to make some paperwork arrangements. I'm gonna have to end my plight on this call. A lot of you brothers, you may know of me or don't know me. I had the circle 7 cut in my chest. It wasn't tattooed. I literally had it cut.
Understood.
MST of A. It's always been in my heart. I proclaimed my nationality back in '96, but I don't. I was a part of the temple when Olivia was in charge. Sister A. Washington Eel, T. Foster Eel, all of them. As I was saying, that the order is very, very easy when you study heavily with the Moors. The order is very easy, and I don't have a plan B. I don't design a plan B. I don't like a plan B. And one of the reasons why there's a difference in a lot of things that happen with other people and how they grasp it is because they don't have the diligent study of a lot of brothers, and they don't have the goodies. They prefer to be popular than proficient, and proficiency isn't always about what you've retained and know. You could teach a dog to put a ball in the basketball hoop. It's about your consistency. So, but I thank you all for listening. If anyone ever want to reach me, my numbers, I'm easy to find with a GPS. It's 312-312-0895. Just always remember Chicago area code 0895. And you can call me at any time. It is what it is. I'm always trying to be an asset.
Peace and love to you and your family, bro.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. This shirt I have on. Do y'all know what the shirt? Y'all know what the shirt? You know what the emblem is?
Yes, I do. I know exactly what it is.
A lot of people thought that it was a Masonic emblem, but this came from Assassin's Creed.
Video game. That's right, Assassin's Creed. When he was
I saw this shirt. I saw this shirt about maybe about 7 years ago in the store when one of my brothers was working at. I said, I gotta have that shirt. And who was that 9070? And then I let me see. I bought this. Got this on Amazon with this eye in there, and then my pyramid, my amethyst for February for my birthday, February the 8th, and then my black onyx, and then my ankh. I had a brother. It's a brother that makes. He's a Nazarite, so he put all these crystals and stuff together for me. But I appreciate you all, and Tony, you can call me. You text me anytime you need me.
Hey, bro.
Any of you brothers, y'all need me anything, anywhere, I'll be there. I thank you.
With you, bro.
Y'all be well.
All right.
Peace.
Right.
Peace.
I want to say thank you to Brother Christopher Jackson for hanging out with us. We have been trying to hook up for a minute. It was just that time that we was able to get together, and I just want to say thank him for coming on tonight. So, and definitely sending our condolences to him and his family, and definitely keeping him in prayer as we should. So tonight I have Noble Alexander, slap your mama. Brother, what's going on with you tonight?
What?
I'm all right.
I'm all right. I'll catch up on that later.
I'm all right.
How you holding up, man? You done working right now for a minute?
Yeah. I'm just checking out my bros. Listening in.
Well, okay. So tonight we was talking in regards to esoteric Freemasonry, grasping the truth. But we had some other little tangibles that was in there tonight. So, what is your opinion in regards to that?
The esoteric side, or the other stuff that you were talking about?
The esoteric side.
My thoughts on that is it just kind of depends on, to be able to grasp it. It just really it's where your heart is, because it's hard to, this system, the way it was built, is predicated on that. That's why, when you come in on that side. That's why, you were first. That's why you were prepared there first. So that's a key factor, and that's what will allow you to be able to grasp and see the things that are unseen and go behind the scenes. Because if
Hey,
not, you'll
Tony,
just, huh?
Noble, you just brought up something I just thought about, and it made sense to me when you said it. The heart being on the left side considered the weakest point of masonry. Kill the heart can die quickly, but the mind still lives and the spirit still lives without the heart. You think about it.
Mm-hmm.
When the mind goes, the spirit still exists without the heart or the mind. But if the mind and the spirit are gone, heart can't do nothing.
Yes, sir.
So you're starting off at the weakest point, even though it's a strong point. That's still the weakest side, weakest point. Because the heart can't exist without the other two.
I mean, it sure can. And when you look at one of the points in temperance, one of the points of your entrance,
Mm-hmm.
Going back to that fortitude, where that lies, and the same thing with that brother on that side, that we learn about on that first degree, that's representing, that power, that is there, where that's, so.
And that's why the secrets are kept in the bony box and not, because that left side again. See, when you get the understanding of the basics and you start going into the esoteric and you start thinking how it applies to the being of a person, their physical makeup, their spiritual makeup, their their connection to the universe, and just how it's a beautiful flow, bro. Because a lot of people don't see it. They're too busy trying to figure out where to put their feet at.
Mm-hmm. Real talk.
Where do I step my foot at? Bro, once you figure that out, then I can start. Because like I said, you just made me think about that. I had never thought about it till you said something about the heart. And I'm like, you know what? We're talking about esoteric. And we were talking about telling a brother about him tying his apron on the left side and why. And I broke it down in a situation. And then it's like, and then when you said that, I went back to that. And boom, here I am sitting here taking it like, man, out of the heart, the mind, and the spirit. The heart is the weakest of the three. Because your heart can go, your mind's still gonna live for 7 more minutes afterwards.
Mm.
When your mind goes, your energy still flows, so the spirit's still flowing regardless. You pull that energy out the body can't function. You take the mind out of that, the mind can't tell the heart to pump. So yeah, never mind me. I'm just tripping right now.
No.
That's how I see things. The brothers don't understand, man. Once you've read so much, you start seeing these things, not just from the Masonic side of it, but the universal side of it, and how it all plays key to that sacred geometry.
That's why, in the ancient time, it was referred to as a mystery school. So this is the stuff that we're talking about. That is the real true essence. It goes beyond just, the physical part, just the actual working tools, like, an actual gauge and an actual compass, and all of that, is way deeper than that. That's just, you just scratched the surface with that. But some people only get that far because their heart is not opened up, and the more open it is, the deeper you can go. And when it's completely pure and open, oh, bro, man, the great I am will just start revealing stuff to you. You'll just be like, whoa. That's when they say that's when the light bulb come on. When the cartoons and light bulb come on, bing. Yeah.
Everybody ain't ready for that light bulb though. They'll be trying to knock it out. They'll be wondering what's wrong with them. I see things, I hear things, and I do these
That's
things.
because of that. That's because of how they were taught to think. You understand?
No.
People were taught to think a certain way and raised to be a certain way, and that, you know, certain things and certain views from society are what matter. But all that was just a control issue on how to keep people in their lower self and not in their higher self. Because when a person reaches their higher self, you can't control them.
Absolutely. That is true. And I'm going to end on that note. We're going to continue to have this conversation offline. So for those of you who are watching right now on the YouTube, I want to say personally, thank you for coming on and definitely hanging out with us today. It's indeed a pleasure. Always. I was on one earlier today, though. Boy, I was hot. I was livid today, bro. I went live with my. We'll talk in a minute. But look, sometimes I get excited. I get a little carried away. But I do want to say to everyone that's watching tonight, I appreciate you. I hope that everything is going well in your life. My condolences to Brother Jackson. We're going to continue this conversation, but it's going to be offline. I'm going to make sure that I log off this time because we were still on the other night for
a little bit.
Minutes. So with that being said, stay out the bushes, keep your light on, and I'll be seeing you later. Peace and be well. So look, I know I'm off now because I ended that screaming over there already.
Get plenty of views tonight, Tony?
I say what now?
Get plenty of views tonight?
Yeah, bro. It anytime we go on, man, we really have a good subject. People tune in. It's when your subject sucks that people don't want to deal with you. That's the honest truth. That is the honest
I thought they
truth.
thought we were going to give them some esoteric secrets. No, I ain't giving up on esoteric secrets.
No.
You need to prepare yourself.
I should be offline. Y'all better make sure I'm offline.
For real, I'm ready to start. I'm ready for you. From now on, I'm ready for you to end every single one of these with, so the password of a master mason is, and then go right offline, right after before you say it. And watch everybody lose their mind. They all gonna lose. They be like, oh no, that's just wrong.
You keep playing it back and be like, did he say it? Did he cut it off? Maybe I missed it. Maybe cut short.
It's still on. From now on, I'm ready. It's still on.
I'm still on talking now?
It's still on. You still on. I just heard everything I said.
And you're not getting secrets still, people.
That's right. No secrets.
We'll tell you the secret is prepare yourself for the secret.
That's right. All y'all out there listening, y'all ain't getting none.
Man, look.
Tony, get us off of here.
There you go. That's right.
I'm off unless I just pop back on.
No, you still on.
John G. Jones.
No, I can hear it.
See, now they know the secret. The secret is that we not gonna tell you the password.
Yep, we're not giving you nothing.
Oh my God.
Now we got to think of another thing to do.
Oh my God.
Okay, I got something else. I got more schemes than the A team. I even get the Hulk with his group.
On YouTube, I thought I logged that off, but you guys are telling me I didn't log it off.
No, we're still going.
See, now they know the secret.
Oh man.
There's 14 people in the chat thinking they gonna get some secrets. Y'all suspect, all 14 of you.
I comes before B, comes before M comes before.
Let me see.
Y'all crazy.
If you figure that secret out, let me know. I still don't know what I was talking about.
I hear everything myself, bro.
I want to see what the comments are right now. Like these brothers are getting cut.
There's okay, 3 people left. There's nobody saying nothing.
That's because I supposed to have logged off.
You might have to do it in the Zoom.
I'm over in the Zoom right now, to be honest.
Oh yeah, your Zoom does say live on YouTube still.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can't be doing these live YouTube.
Yeah, that's why I see. Next time I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna moderate so that we can manage it better.
Because I'll
Because I
start.
know Brother
clowning.
Hawkins got a grip, but I know it.
I'll start clowning for views in a moment. And start telling.
Oh, they, look, we lost 3 and 2 more came back. Shame on you.
Oh man, but I'm trying to get out of here. Hold on, fellas. I'm trying to get out of here, man.
It
I
should be.
really, I see
Tony,
what
do you have
live
your
on
manual?
YouTube.
Yeah,
Do you
we
have
still
your
on
That's all
manual?
right.
YouTube. Yep.
Yeah, he's still on YouTube. I'm
Hold on.
live. I'm looking at
Let me
it.
see what I can do with this. Hold on.
Come on, Sav.
The book of YouTube.
Hey, I'm working with it.
And we just gonna have some fun. So
You
listen,
just gonna have a
this
clown right
weekend,
about now.
Y'all ain't right. Y'all treat me
Somebody
like
gotta
a
do it.
child.
Nico, I thought you was the admin, bro.
He's
oh no, I'm the
admin.
admin on the Zoom, not on the YouTube.
Yeah, that's
I
Tony.
got that. I
Hey,
can't
you
do
know
that.
what? Wait a minute. Go back and put me the admin. What if I gotta take the admin back over?
Hey,
Okay, let me
hey,
give you the admin back. Hold on.
Well,
you
that's
have
why
to
you
let
can't get out of
have
it,
to let
Tony.
Nico get the
That's
admin.
probably what it
See,
is.
that's
That's
remember
why I
that
can't
time.
get out of
Remember that
here
time I was
because
having that
he's
meeting and I
admin.
told you I didn't have the
There you
admin.
go.